knows? Yeah, doesn't Taylor Swift have some type of movie
She's
or
got
film
a
coming out?
concert movie coming out too. That'll be big, I'm sure.
So is it just like a documentary of the Eras U.S. tour or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a concert performance, so
Oh.
I'm sure she recorded one of or pieced together.
I mean, it would be
a
wise.
bunch of performances.
Yeah. Yeah. Does she even have a live album? I bet she doesn't. Maybe she does. I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of.
But this would be one to milk for sure. You know, biggest tour ever. And
They're basically selling the same thing twice.
Yep. Yep. A lot of people, I saw that she was re-releasing some album, and she'll release the like deluxe version or whatever. She said you got 48 hours, 72 hours to buy this thing. So fans are buying it. And then she'll come out and say, here's an alternate version of that one. You have 72 hours to buy it. So then like the rabid fans feel like, oh, well, now I feel like I have to buy this one too. And I guess a lot of the fans were getting upset with her for that type of marketing strategy, but it's like,
you're the ones buying it.
You're the ones buying it. That's how I feel too. But I mean, she's a businesswoman and she's smart. And that's great marketing.
And realistically, she's probably not the one making those decisions as to how it's released.
No, probably not. I mean, I'm sure she's definitely the stamp of approval. Like, okay, yeah, that is what we're going to do.
I mean, but she's not her head of marketing, probably. So.
No, somebody came up with that idea, I'm sure. But it's like, that's just business smarts. Like, she is so smart when it comes to all of this, and you can't be mad at her.
No, I mean, people weren't mad at Blink for having 3 versions of the same album.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the exact same thing, and we felt the exact same thing. But all those came out at one time, and you still felt like, you know, it would be nice to have all 3. So. But I can't remember. Was there a indicator on the album that said
no?
So you
opened it. Yeah.
You were taking a chance. That's worse. But,
unless you're at Walmart, then you knew it was a shitty censored version.
Yeah, that's right. Didn't Target
have no color?
Didn't Target have the shitty versions too? I feel like.
I think eventually it just turned into a version with no bonus stuff on it, because I think the one I have doesn't have bonus material on it.
I don't understand why the bonus material isn't out on like Spotify and stuff.
Yeah, mine looks like this.
Oh, okay.
But it's not edited.
Yeah.
It's just probably.
So you have no bonuses on that, right?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, yeah, because otherwise the CD
no color on it. Yeah.
Yeah. CD was either red, green, or yellow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Blink did it, and they did it worse in a way. So you could just be buying the same CD over and over again.
Well, they're only $12 or $15 or whatever, I guess.
True. Not 50 or 60 or however much.
I was trying to win. There's an auction for that, Enema of the State, and Neighborhoods all together. I think I got outbid.
Vinyl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at $57 for all 3.
All right, so John, let's do a bonus episode, shall we?
Bonus.
Anyways, John, there was a lot of people on Reddit.
Well, generally, yeah, it's a popular website.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people on Reddit who I've noticed complain a lot about, you know, concert etiquette nowadays. A lot of people, at least the ones on the internet, who think that the way people act at concerts has pretty much, like, it's changed so much, apparently, since the pandemic. Well, this week I came across a Reddit post that was pretty well written, and it was really thought out at explaining what they saw at a recent show. There's also a great response to this question that kind of, you know, might put it in its place, or it's a different point of view. And I thought we could discuss it and maybe read some comments and, you know, see what we think when it comes to.
I would be happy to.
Concert etiquette. So again, this comes from Reddit. It was in the Pop Punkers subreddit. The post is titled "These New TikTok Kids at Concerts." Mm-hmm. All right, so here's the post. It says, "Holy shit." And it is kind of a long post, so bear with me. He says, "Holy shit. What is wrong with these kids? So insufferable, no idea of concert culture, no idea of how to properly hydrate, passing out at shows due to this, no idea that they aren't the main character, shouting at band members, sometimes fake passing out for attention, kids bringing books to read during the openers. Yes, this is really happening.
That's a good idea.
Kids,
I've seen some shitty openers, man.
kids bringing percussion instruments to play along at festivals, thinking
Okay,
they are
that's a little bit
quirky
much.
recording shows on a 3DS. Goes on. They seem split between pearl clutching at the most easygoing moshing or pathetically trying to crowd kill with their lanky frames. No in between. No idea how to crowd surf, tend to wait too long on stage. When they do finally go for it, they are either slamming on the ground or kicking people in the head every time. Another point is getting too drunk on empty stomachs and vomiting. Goes on. They act like zombies until the one song that went viral on TikTok is played, usually the only reason they're there in the first place.
Yeah.
Talking way too much the rest of the show. I know you hate that. They're on their phones, but not even recording the show, just scrolling and just generally being obnoxious. And finally, they go on to say, once a female artist or female-led band makes the rounds on TikTok, a new crowd starts to emerge. A very gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss crowd. They are more activists who like the aesthetics and the identity politics of an artist rather than being fans of the music. The
Looking
music
at you,
is
boy genius.
The music is an afterthought to these folks. I've literally been sneered at by Julian Baker fans at one of her shows because
I hit the nail on the head there, didn't I?
because I'm a white male who was there alone. So, before we comment,
that is creepy.
that is
I was at least there with my wife,
actually.
which was off-putting to people.
Did
Like,
you? Really?
just-
You caught bad vibes at a?
No, not at all.
Oh,
I'm just
I was
kidding.
gonna say. Okay.
No, we were probably, older than the average person in the audience.
Sure.
But, it wasn't anything creepy. Just
So-
there to enjoy the show.
So before we dive into this, I want to read the response that somebody had because I think it's good. Because, like I said, I've heard this type of stuff happening at concerts, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck is going on? So this person responds, and they say, and this is kind of long too, so bear with me again. The behaviors you list aren't unique to the TikTok generation, except for maybe the book. That one was new when I was at Riot Fest. He goes on, like 10 years ago, went to the Used and Taking Back Sunday and saw basically all of the entitled behavior you were talking about. Adam literally asked some girl in the front row to put away her phone because he was sick of staring at the flash. Percussion instruments at the festival, saw that at Lollapalooza in the late 2000s. Kids passing out and vomiting because they don't know their limits or don't understand
That's been
hydration.
going on forever.
Yeah, that's been a constant for decades, he says. Hell, I was that kid in the mid-90s, he says. Goes on. It's always been this way. You are just now noticing it. It's not like there is a definitive book on concert etiquette, and honestly, there can't be. There isn't a definitive opinion on etiquette. Knowing when, where, and how to crowd surf is learned by trial and error, and to an extent varies from person to person and the crowd itself. If the guys 2 rows behind you are launching little people when they hit them, you are going to get kicked regardless of what the crowd surfer's doing. Same thing if they are putting people up that shouldn't be put up. You are just proper fucked either way. As far as cell phones go, if you don't know what it's like to get burned by a cheap plastic lighter from having that bitch on for 2-3 minutes of a song, I am not sure you get to yell at those particular clouds. And besides, the solution to that problem is still the same as it's always been: more crowd surfers and larger pits. Only a couple more paragraphs here. The whole zombie thing isn't particularly new either. Went to the Third Eye Blind and Eve 6 back in the late 90s. Crowd during God of Wine was very different than Semi-Charmed Live. An entire crowd stood around during Eve 6 until they played Inside Out. New generation isn't all bad either. There is way more of a focus on medical and people in danger than there ever has been. New generation is also less inclined to try to fight people, and oddly enough, I have been to 2 shows in the past year where strangers offered to save my spot for me, and I have been offered an awful lot of drugs, not just ditch weed joints. Okay? The reality is that concert etiquette is...
Cruddy weed.
Yeah. The reality is
Mexican
that,
weed, general.
oh boy, concert etiquette
It is
learned by doing and trial and error unless someone takes the time and effort to explain why they are being an asshole. All right, so A lot of good counterpoints there. I tend to believe this guy. To be honest, I don't necessarily go to a ton of concerts, and when I do, I'm not going in the pit. I just want to be comfortable, so I want to enjoy the show from a seated area. The book reading is weird. That's weird, but hey, what?
I'm going to be honest. If this guy was just watching the concert, then he wouldn't have noticed half of this.
Right, exactly. So, that's true.
Are you there to people watch, or are you there to watch the show?
Right. So I guess let's talk about concert etiquette. If there is concert etiquette, what do you think about this? Is there a concert etiquette? Is there a concert like unwritten rule?
There is.
Okay.
And I think if you're in a general admission type audience, you're just going to have to be prepared to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yes.
I think people aren't as acceptable of, like it's an uncomfortable situation. People are packed in, it's tight, people smell.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like going on a flight. If a flight's sold out, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's going to be a baby crying.
Right.
You just have to mentally prepare for what you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, some of that stuff sounds like it's a little bit over the top. Perhaps you could move to a different area.
Yes, exactly.
If somebody
true.
Reading a book bothers you.
Yeah.
I'm more bothered by somebody singing along, which is like the most engaged thing you can be doing. So it's like the complete polar opposite of reading a book. I wished everybody else at a concert was reading a book and I was just watching the show. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, but that's true, especially if you have somebody that like really can't sing and they're belting the lyrics at the top of their lungs and they're right next to you. That would be a bad experience. So I get that, even though that, like you said, that's the most engaged a fan can be at a concert and what should be expected. But so do you think more people, because you go to more concerts than I do you think this TikTok generation, as this guy calls it, do you think they are more uncomfortable in the general admission area than, say, we were growing up? Or do you think it's always kind of been
I think on some level it's always kind of been, there's been changes in technology and things like that. So, I mean, it's just an ever evolving thing. But I think just people trying to figure out how to express this without being old manish. Just the way media is now, it's so much more personalized. Like you get to select everything that you want when you want it.
Yeah.
So when you're at a concert, you're at the will of an artist that are performing. You can't change the channel.
Right.
You can't skip past the song.
Right.
You can't make your own playlist. You're there.
That's a really good point.
And you're experiencing it with, however many other people. So
yeah.
The biggest rule of concert etiquette to me is as long as you're not ruining the experience for somebody else around you. Yeah. Then I think it's okay.
Yeah. So reading a book should not be.
If you want to dance. If you're elbowing people because you're dancing, tone it down.
You're right. Exactly. But reading a book should not ruin anybody's time.
No, unless it has one of them like hook lights on it and
yeah. It's a nighttime show, and
if they're reading by flashlight or something.
Yeah. But
if you're at a festival, there's going to be a ton of bands that you're there not to see. So
yeah,
if you want to read a book, read a book.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess my next question is: do you think people complaining about concert etiquette? Do you think they're blowing it out of proportion? Do you think these? I wonder if these are like people our age that are old man yelling at the clouds type thing. I mean, there were people in the comments that are saying like, "Hey, just join us old folk at the back of the venue."
Yeah, if you're uncomfortable, that's what I need somewhere to lean. God damn it! Like I can't stand straight up for 2 hours anymore. It hurts.
Let's get real here with this person. If they are our age, maybe it is possible that you've mentally outgrown the pit area or being close to the stage.
Go grab a seat. Go sit on the lawn.
Yeah, you might need to hit up the nursing home of the venue, which is in the back with all the other old folk. Just stand around, Maybe that's it. Honestly, maybe
your time is done.
Maybe your time is done. I'm not even trying to say that to be funny, but it's like maybe you have mentally outgrown that. Like that's not for you anymore. It just isn't.
You're the creepy old guy at the party.
Yeah.
Leave.
Knock it off. Please go.
Go.
You're done.
You're done.
All right. So I was
Might as well just end it.
I was going to ask, because when I initially read this Reddit post, I'm like, this guy's right, and this TikTok generation needs to go. But then I read the counterpoints, I'm like,
Yeah,
this
the
guy's
counterpoint
more
was
right.
much better. It was so well written.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
So I was going to ask, does this TikTok generation need stopped? But I think I need to ask, do these gatekeeping concert etiquette people, do they need to be stopped?
I think a little bit of both.
Probably a little bit of both. That's right.
A lot of this could be alleviated by just worrying about your goddamn self.
That's true. That's very true.
How are my actions affecting others?
Right.
Why am I taking the time to write this Reddit post?
Exactly.
Have I ever been inside someone else? Probably not. Might want to work on that.
Oh my God. That's perfect. Yes, 100% nailed it. Nailed it.
Yep. Get inside somebody with consent.
Of course. And
Mutual.
you know what? And I bet you'll start enjoying your concerts a little bit more.
Goddamn right.
All right.
Maybe you
guys
do both at the same time, and then you're going to be.
Yep.
That's peak.
We've talked
Peak
about
human
that.
existence.
We've talked about that on this podcast. It happens. It's not as rare as one might think. So get it done. Get it done. Join the club.
And if you can get through more than one song, God bless you.
Yes, absolutely. And then tell us how you do it.
Yeah. What do you think about? Is it medication?
Is it an ointment?
Do you take care of yourself right before? And how long before? Because sometimes, right after it's sensitive, and then it doesn't help.
Yep.
You're overly sensitive. You've woken up the nerve endings.
Please, everybody, email John.
Give me your tips.
He needs the tips.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. All right. I think, John, you want to close this one out? You can close out the bonus episodes.
Well,
this.
Cats chewed up my cord. Seem to be able to piece it back together. So going forward, I think we're going to be all right. Thanks for tuning in to this special bonus episode about concert etiquette. It's a topic we will continue to discuss as we go forward.
Week after week.
Yes. There will always be concerts. There will always be assholes. So just suck it up.
Yep. Pretty much. All right, guys. Have a good weekend.
We love you.
We do love you. And we're out.
Be better. Just be better.
Always be better.
Signing off. Yours truly. Well, that was much better than my last close.